Hagan. Welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. It's really nice to be back after 3 weeks of being away from the studio. You're watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight, of course, and it is our weekly conversation with inspiring educators, up-and-coming young leaders, as well as fascinating people who contribute to the social, economic, and cultural well-being of our state. Well, today my guests are two young, accomplished ladies who recently graduated from Kaiser High School. So on my left, or on your right, it's Tianzhen Nie, and of course on my far left is Mandy Chun. Again, as I mentioned, they recently graduated from Kaiser High School. Thank you, Tianzhen and Mandy, coming to our studio and joining me as my guests. And I know it took us a long time to finally come to a date and to do this interview. So I'm really excited to learn more about the two of you, and maybe to give the audience background information. The way I met the two of you was because I volunteered for Kaiser High School to sit on the senior projects panel. So having said that, I will ask the two of you, either Mandy or Tianzhen, to tell me a little bit about the senior projects. I have to say I had a fantastic experience being the panel, listening to all the different projects that you undertook. But yeah, maybe I'll start with Mandy. So tell me, how did you get involved? What is this senior project about?
So basically the senior project is meant to manifest an individual's potential for a topic that they feel passionate about. Like it's meant so that the student can concentrate their efforts into researching upon a subject and presenting that as a product.
Okay, so is this something that every senior students take upon then?
No, it's generally for people that want to become honor graduates. So it's definitely a personal choice and an extra commitment if you want to do it.
Okay, now Mandy, you mentioned that something that a person is passionate about. I guess I have to bring this on here because I just told you that I volunteer here as a host. I said, oh, okay, if I were a senior student now, I would use this as my senior project, but that's just an aside. Now, you did very different projects, so maybe tell me what you did and why, well, how long was the process? Maybe I'll start with you, Tianzhen.
So for my project, I chose to focus on the impact of words in our daily lives through the written aspect and also the spoken aspect. I'm a spoken word poet, and part of the experience that shaped this, because we have to have 30 hours of either product learning, following someone in a career or whatever. For me, I had the opportunity last summer to attend Brave New Voices, which is an international poetry festival. So my time that I spent there was what I used to build my product, which was a poem that I was able to share with you guys.
Right, I remember that was really impressive because you actually did a small performance even before the whole presentation began. But hold your thoughts on it. Let me go to Mandy first because you did a very different project, something related to the environment. Tell us about that.
So over the course of my 4 years at Kaiser, a teacher, Mr. Joshua Lawrence, actually inspired me and put a passion in me to really take action about the environment. I learned a lot about what's going on in the world right now, how this is human caused and how it's supposed to get worse. In addition to that, my friends and I, we felt like we should really take action this year, especially because it's our senior year. We wanted to create a club where it was an outlet for education about the environment and sustainability. And so we decided that we would create a club that would serve just that purpose. And I also wanted to learn how to become a leader, so I took up the role of president and I led the club this year.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you reminded me because well, as I mentioned earlier on, I know that it had to do with environment, but it's good to know that, you know, we read in the news about how we should take care of the environment, but I think for a younger generation like the two of you, you're actually really taking action. And the thing is, environment, how we try to, I guess, sustain the world, I guess ultimately it affects all of us here. Now, Mandy, you brought up leadership, so I'll let you have a few seconds to think about that. But I want to come back to you, Tianzhen. You were in the poetry competition. Words are important to you, and I know we had a brief discussion, 4 months ago at the presentation. So how did you get interested in that? Tell us a little bit more about this poetry Grand Slam, is that what it is?
Slam poetry.
Oh, slam poetry, sorry, yeah.
I got interested in my freshman year when they did the new student orientation, and the poetry club just immediately wowed at me because they had this performance where the 4 of them were trying to, so it was super interesting. I was actually really intimidated as a freshman. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so competitive. They're so amazing as writers, as performers. So for freshman and sophomore year, I didn't really get involved in the community. And in my junior year, the club kind of took some detours in my sophomore year. So that I was appointed president, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm the president, I really need to be involved in this. So I started really becoming involved in the spoken word community. And how the community works is that for teens, ages 13 to 19, there's a monthly second Saturday slam where you can qualify to be part of the Grand Slam finals, which is where they choose the state team to represent at internationals. So I qualified at one of the Grand Slams. I did not think I would have a chance to make it to internationals, but I ended up tying for second there. So I took a 2 or 3 month process to prepare as part of Team Hawaii for internationals.
So that was still while you are going to school and having to take care of all the other courses in your high school. Wow. So where did you go for the competition then?
Last summer was at Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
And this summer, our organization, the Pacific Tongues organization, is no longer going to be competing at Brave New Voices, but I'm going back to volunteer.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be in Atlanta this year.
My gosh. So you said so poetry really connected with you when you came to high school, but you didn't really do anything until
my junior year. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So now how has that changed you, do you think?
I think poetry has made me a much more aware person of what's going on. A lot of times maybe our news sources, they're biased or leaning towards one direction. Poetry really gives you the voice of the people, spoken word particularly. It's such a refreshing, engaging art form, and it really forces people to listen to what you have to say. And it makes you feel really powerful as a performer, and also powerful because of the impact you can have on your audience.
So what was it like when you went to Philadelphia for the competition? What did you learn from the rest of the competitors?
Besides that they're amazing, I think what I really learned is our shared humanity. For me, as an Asian American, that's actually a huge minority in the spoken word community, but there's so much common themes in what we write about, what we experience, even though I may not have gone through something that another poet has. Their poems help me empathize with them.
Wow. Now, you two are very eloquent. You know, when I think about what I was like in high school, I really don't want to share that, but definitely not the eloquence that you have. Now, Mandy, you mentioned that you started this environmental club. You ended up being the president, and you also became the president of the spoken word club. So, and you talked about leadership, trying to learn something. So tell us this process of setting up this environmental club. Did we have anything like that at Kaiser before, I guess, before you initiated this this idea?
Well, previous to the starting of this club, there were a couple of clubs that did touch upon portions of environmentalism, like cleaning up beaches, volunteering to clean up, the school or beautification. But there was not really a solid environmental club that was focused solely on sustainability and issues like that. So no, there was not really a club that focused mainly on that, which is why we decided to create this club. In terms of leadership, there was a lot of issues, a lot of challenges along the way. As starting a club it's difficult because you have to go through a lot of bureaucratic processes, like filling out forms, getting consent, trying to find an advisor, trying to gain support from the community. There is a lot of challenges. It is a big time commitment trying to get all of these things together, but it was well worth it to get the club up and running. Yeah.
So how is the club going now, especially since you will be moving on to go to college? So is there somebody taking care of your baby, shall I say that? Because at the end, you're the one who created it, right?
Yeah. So our plans were, we have a leadership team, and we're hoping that one of the officers that was serving on the officer team this year could take the place as president next year. It is up to he or she, whoever will be leading the club, what will happen with the club, what will happen with, the activities and things like that. But we do hope that the club continues, and we do hope that we cultivate a mindset of sustainability within the students at Kaiser High.
Now, besides Kaiser, is this, I would imagine sustainability, concern for the environment are huge issues or concerns for high school students, for young people. Do you know if similar clubs exist in Kalani or other high schools?
I'm not completely sure that similar clubs exist, but I'm pretty sure that, in this day and age, in this generation, students are becoming more aware of the issues going around, in the earth, basically, because it is going to affect our generation as well as the generations in the future. So we're definitely becoming more aware, and I'm hoping at least that change is being sparked within the public school system.
Well, it has to start from your generation or even younger, so I'm glad you're doing that. Now, Tianzhen, coming to you, leadership and having to lead the spoken word club. So what did you learn?
I learned that a lot of times to make something successful, you have to put in the time yourself. I think this is something that not just the poetry club taught me. I'm also one of the editor-in-chiefs of our school newspaper.
Yes, that's right. That's
so
right.
That in itself was also a learning process, because I held both offices at the same time. A lot of times, especially if you're in high school, there's not a lot you can do to make sure that other people contribute, to make sure that something succeeds. It's really about how much effort you put in yourself.
Now, you brought up a good point. I guess you two are passionate, you have your own passion on certain issues or causes, so you put in the effort, you try to go around bureaucracy, try to make things work. But how do you try to get other people who are kind of just nonchalant, indifferent? How do you get them fired up? How do you get them to help you?
Well,
leading by example, right?
Okay.
That and also showing them how these up-and-coming problems are going to affect themselves personally, how they're going to affect their family, their relationships, how they're going to affect their children. So when you place the issue on a personal level for someone to understand, then it makes it really, it deepens their emotions toward it. And they really sympathize, and they can really understand the severity of the issue.
Now, one last question before we come on our first break. So what did the two of you learn from your senior projects, besides, having to navigate through the bureaucracies and...
I think the best thing about the senior project is it really encourages initiative. It's up to you to get something done. It's up to you to make sure that you have all the forms you need done, and there's a lot of forms. That was my least favorite part of it.
Okay.
What I learned is if you want to do something, it's really up to yourself to complete it.
Okay.
There was not a lot of pressure for us to get it done.
Okay.
Not even from our teachers. So I think that's just a good picture for what goes on in the real world.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Mandy, what about you?
Well, I think the senior project was a good template for what we should be doing later on in life, because after all, like Tianzhen said, if you are passionate about something, it's not going to take much initiative to have to do that. You'll want to do that by yourselves, because it is something personal you connect with. And I think the senior project was meant to really touch upon that and show that if you are passionate about something, you don't have to go through all this bureaucratic things, and you don't have to, have like extrinsic motivation to do something, like if it's on your heart, then you should do it. And no matter what kind of roadblocks or challenges that may be in the way, you will find ways around them, or you will overcome them. And I think the senior project is also meant to motivate you to do your own things, to become an independent person, you know, to pursue what you love and what you feel passionate about. It's no longer I have to do this because it's an assignment that you know my teachers gave me. It's I want to do this because I want to change the world. So.
You certainly, both of you, are motivated, eloquent, and I'm so glad that you are my guest today. So let's take a very short break.
Thank you.
My guests are Tianzhen Nie and Mandy Chun. They are recent graduates from Kaiser High School. You're watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My name is Alice Li Hagan. We'll be right back after the break.
To Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy on Wednesday. And we have Sharon Moriwaki, my co-host and co-chair of the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum. And we have Warren Bohlmeyer today, a special guest with the Hawaii Renewable Energy Alliance, and also a member of the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum.
In fact, he's our Renewable Energy Working Group Chair. So
he
takes care of all of our...
You ought to see him in song and dance, too. He does the musical part of the show. Sharon is more serious than that, but not much more serious. So anyway, what do you think of this show? I mean, is this good?
I think this is good. We hope it's good. We hope it attracts a lot more people than our forum, so that people can see what's going on in energy and clean energy, and call in, write in, tweet
we
or
want
Twitter.
that. We want public engagement, civic engagement from everybody, because that's the only way we're going to get down the road on this, right, Warren?
Yeah, I think so, and it's an opportunity for guys like me to share a little bit of their mana'o and sometimes get the facts right. Who was that guy that said, just give me the facts, you know, start with the facts and then work from there? Oh, it was Dragnet guy, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Jack,
That was when I was
That
just
I
in
would
grade
all
school then. I
remember
barely
that.
remember that.
Yeah.
just the facts,
Just the
man.
facts.
Here on Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, every Wednesday from 4 to 5. You'll see. Come back soon. Right, Sharon?
Great.
Warren?
Yes.
Welcome back to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. If you are just joining us, my two guests are Tianzhen Nie and Mandy Chun, recent graduates from the Kaiser High School out in Hawaii Kai. Well, Tianjin and Mandy, we just talked about your senior projects, and it really brought that fantastic memory. I mean, I met the two of you, and then there are two of your classmates who did another project. One, I think, had to do with music composition, and then the other fellow, I think he was, I forgot, Izako was.
I don't remember what
Don't
his
worry
project
about that.
is.
But anyway, the focus is on you today. Now, I remember when I was going to school, which was not in this country, I just focused on my academic work. I didn't get involved in senior projects, not even to talk about community issues or being aware of community issues. Obviously, you spend a lot of time not only on your academic work, you know what's going on around you, you do things, you go to competition, you volunteer and set up clubs. I guess the question then is, you know, for the last 4 years at Kaiser, have you had, you know, moments when you said, okay, why am I involved in so many different things? Why do I have to do all that?
Definitely.
I want to give up. So, Mandy?
Well, yeah, it's kind of the opposite for me. In Kaiser, I didn't really get involved in too many things. I was involved in the band and orchestra, wind ensemble. I was involved in a couple of plays and singing and performing, but other than that, I was actually not that involved in school, which would be one of the things I would like give advice to some high schoolers right now would probably be get involved. Like, you only have 4 years, and it sounds cliche, but really those 4 years do go by fast, especially when you have things to look forward to, when you have things that you're pursuing and passions that you're pursuing. In terms of me, I did pursue a couple of my passions, such as singing, such as musical, you know, theater and things like that. But definitely, I would want to have gotten more involved in more clubs and organizations while I was in Kaiser.
So, okay, hold that thought because I want to ask you, you know, now in hindsight, you wish you want to involve more. So I guess the question for you later is, what would you want to be more involved in? Now, Tianzhen, during the break, you were asking me, okay, I asked you if there are other things you want to talk about. So reflecting on your 4 years, I mean, when I asked you, okay, were there times when you want to give up? You nodded.
Oh, yes.
So share that experience with us.
I think that's actually been multiple times. I think for me, it's almost the opposite of Mandy. I was very headstrong in my high school years. I was involved in a lot of different things, and one thing that my parents always told me was, we're not trying to get you to do more. We're trying to hold you back. We're trying to get you to relax. Like, because I was often just jetting from place to place. So I think one of the most memorable things that has happened to me in high school is also one of those things I've wanted to give up on, and that's the Distinguished Young Women program.
Okay, what is that?
The Distinguished Young Women program is a leadership competition for senior high school girls, and there's five aspects of the program, and basically you get judged. They're weighted differently, and they choose a state winner every year to represent them at the national competition. So in Hawaii, this program goes from about, I would say, November to February, which is this year when they announced the state competition. But there's a lot of practices that we have to do. We have to learn a fitness routine, no bikini involved. My parents would never let me participate. But yeah, so there was just a lot of work that had to be done, and it was definitely something that took up my time, but more importantly, my energy. And
okay.
Part of the process happened to be winter break, right before we were applying. Like, I had to send off all my college applications. So I was feeling completely overwhelmed. I told my parents, I've put in a lot of time and I feel really bad, but I think I want to quit this thing. And I'm like, and I was telling my parents, what if I put in all this time and I never win anything? And my dad sat down and talked with me. And he's like, well, why did you want to join this program in the first place? It's because you're going to get to meet so many amazing women, not just in the public schools, but our mentors. The state chairperson, for example, is an anesthesiologist, and then the board president is a super successful lawyer. So just being able to come in contact with these women was wonderful enough. He's like, that's why you're doing this program, not because of the money. You know, that's not the most important part. So I was like, okay, Dad, I'm going to change my attitude. We're going to do this. And it was really amazing because at the competition, I actually won.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so I was announced the Distinguished Young Woman of Hawaii, and this week, Saturday, I'll be going up to Alabama to compete.
Oh my gosh,
in
congratulations. So do you have to prepare for the?
Yes, so there's even more extensive preparations. I've been doing interview practices every week, 2-hour interview practices.
Okay.
And there's a fitness routine that we have to learn again for nationals. And for me, my talent needed to be improved as well. So those are all aspects I've been working on.
So you have to do a fitness routine, you have to be interviewed. I mean, this is like a practice for you right now, right?
This is longer. This is a lot longer than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry, it goes by fast. So besides these two things, what else do you have to do?
There's a talent portion where you have 1 minute, 30 seconds to showcase your talent. Mine was spoken word with accompaniment of Chinese zither, which I play. And also a scholastic competition where they look at your grades and test scores. And lastly, self-expression, which is you walk on stage and you answer a question in a pretty dress. And that's what makes people think it's a pageant, but it's not a pageant.
Okay, well, you said there's no bikini involved.
Yes, there's no bikini involved.
So are your parents going to be going with you?
The original plan was that my parents and my brother and my grandparents and my cousin were all going to come, but that plan was way too complicated, so we just decided that my mom was going to come.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and you have to tell me how it goes.
Yes.
Now, Mandy, let's come back to you. Now, you said that, I guess you started talking advice for your class, for your schoolmates, that they should get involved. Now, knowing what you know right now, what would you have gotten more involved in?
Well, I'm very service-oriented, especially at my church, so I probably would have joined some service clubs like Key Club or Leo Club, where I could gain experience within the community and learn how to serve my fellow people in general. In addition to that, I would have also joined clubs that are debate-oriented or that touch upon issues within the world now, such as Model UN, being able to practice speaking on an international level, interacting with those kind of people, being in the limelight in that sort of sense, because I am thinking about going into political science with an emphasis on environmental law. So it would really help prepare me for what's up next. So I would definitely join clubs like this.
Wow. Now, you also, let's see, let me ask you this question too, because Tianjin, you have a tight family, and I guess one of the questions I'm interested in is 4 years of high school, you started talking about some of your memorable experiences. What about people who have influenced you? Would it be in school, whether it be in school, in the community, I leave it up to you.
We have the same person.
You want to tell me that story, or does Mandy want to tell us that story?
It's our teacher.
She
brought him up earlier, Mr. Lawrence. You had him for AP Biology too, right? So we both had him for freshman year biology, AP Biology, then AP Environmental Science. In all of our biology classes, we did not learn very much biology. We learned a lot of environmental science, which was not very good for our exams, but it was beneficial for our life direction. You know, so Mr. Lawrence is what really opened our eyes to these issues, and that's why both Mandy and I actually want to go into environmental law.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So besides school teacher, well, are there anybody else in the school, or, I don't know, your immediate classmates who made a difference for you? And you don't have to name names.
Well, I wouldn't know any specific classmate, but in addition to Tianzhen, my best friend, just the multitude of students that have continually made an impact on my life throughout the 4 years, have grown me as a person, has challenged me, has corrected me, and helped me to grow. Just being able to see a diverse number of students and see their lifestyle, see their values, and kind of reflect upon my own, it really has formed me into the person that I am now. So in that way, thank you, class of 2015 Kaiser High, for forming me into the person I am. Yeah.
Well, what about for you, Tianjin? Because it sounds like you work really, your family is really supportive.
Yes.
I mean, considering all the involvement, I know that it takes a whole village to provide the support, because I have a niece who also recently graduated, but it is a production, and I look forward to that. But obviously there is a lot of background support. So,
I mean, for sure, my family is, they often try to rein me in because I have a very wild and creative imagination, but they do try to put me out there and get me to do things that are going to be beneficial for me. My brother is my biggest cheerleader. When I won Distinguished Young Woman, he was doing splits in the air, which I didn't know he was capable of. So my brother is my best friend and my cheerleader, besides Mandy, of course. But some other people that really inspire me are people that have really successful professional careers, but they also have an extensive volunteer aspect, and that's some of the women I've gotten to meet through the Distinguished Young Women program. Also, my piano teacher has been a huge source of inspiration for me, because she's kind of like my environmental science teacher. She teaches, not that she teaches me environmental science, but a lot of our piano lessons were just spent talking about life. So the piano part, maybe if our lesson was an hour, we maybe played like 25 minutes of piano and then like talked for 35 minutes.
And your parents are okay with that?
Well, my parents are really close friends. Our families are really close friends.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just at her house last night.
Okay.
So those kinds of people that really use their life to give me lessons, you know, that's what matters most to me.
You do a lot of different things. So you play the cello, I think, right?
Yes.
And then you play the Chinese zither?
Yes.
And then the piano. Is there anything else that you do?
Sing?
Okay, and then you recite poetry, you perform. Oh my gosh, wow.
I have a dramatic personality. My friends tell me I'm a drama queen, so I need these creative outlets.
You're take advantage of it. There are always good sides and not so good sides to it, but I think you're making full use of that, right? So we're actually coming on a second break. So I guess we talked about your experience at Kaiser. So now I guess I want to move forward after our second break. Okay, so give that some thoughts.
Okay.
You've been watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My name is Alice Li Hagan, and my guests today are Mandy Chun and Tianzhen Nie. They are both recent graduates from Kaiser High School. We'll be right back after the break.
Aloha, my name is Paul Jackson, better known as PJ, and my local interest is in sports. I have my own sports radio show at KWAI AM 1080 that you can stream live. I also have my own website, pjsportsradio.com. We have live guests in studio, and we talk about discussions and topics that everyone wants to know locally here on the islands. We cover everything from surfing to basketball to whatever's going on locally, sports-wise. We try to do our best and cover the topics in depth as much as we can. Once again, thank you for joining PJ here on Hawaii Sports Update. Mahalo.
Hi, aloha. My name is Chris Leatham, and I host a show called The Economy and You. The show plays every Wednesday at noon, and on my show, I bring on guests who are interested or working in the technology space. And so I'd like you to come and watch the show and learn with me about all the sort of exciting things that we're doing in Hawaii to build and grow our economy ecosystem. So I'd like to say aloha, and I look forward to seeing you on the show. Thank you.
Welcome back to ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. If you're just joining us, my guests today are two recent graduates from Kaiser High School. On my left is Tianzhen Nie, and on my far left is Mandy Chun. So we've talked about very quickly, your experience, 4 years of experience at Kaiser High School, and of course you both won awards at their academic awards ceremony just about over a month ago, I believe. Again, I have to say you two are very accomplished. So with all the things that you have done at Kaiser High School, moving forward, so I know, Mandy, when we were coming here, I was asking you whether you'd be here on island or you'd be going to the mainland. So tell us about that.
So next year I will be attending the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington, and I will be pursuing either a pre-medicine degree or a degree in environmental law.
So what made you decide to, well, you explained to us environmental law, so pre-med, so you have interest in that?
Yes,
wow.
I do. Actually, 1 year ago, I joined the Jabson School of Medicine. It was a summer program that kind of introduced youth to aspects of becoming a doctor, like patient interactions, examining a cadaver, being accustomed to things like that. And that really sparked my passion for becoming a doctor. I have such a passion to help people, and I would really want to use my skills to help people as a doctor. So that is another path I am considering. And also, after taking AP Biology in my junior year of high school, I realized I have a knack for learning quickly, and I have a knack for learning specified terms, specified things about biology, and I think that really encouraged me and gave me confidence in my learning and my ability to pick up on things quickly. So why not go into something that really gave me confidence about myself?
Well, it sounds like Mr. Lawrence did make a huge impact, had a huge impact on you. I wish you good luck. I would love to hear that down the road you're going to be a doctor, because we need doctors, and we hope that you will come back. Tianjin, I know we chatted about your future after the end of your presentation. So remind me again, where are you going? Because it was still in the works at that time.
Yes, I hadn't decided at that time. I will be attending the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So what would you be studying then?
I will be majoring in environmental studies, possibly with a minor in public policy.
Okay. Okay, well, I can see you being a policy person. Now, you both are leaving Hawaii. Would you come back?
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm going to ask you to sign a contract now.
Yes, with qualifications.
Okay, so tell us about your qualifications.
I don't envision myself living in Hawaii forever. However, there's a dream of mine that sometime after college, maybe before law school, I'll come back and I'll live a life that Mr. Lawrence lived. I'll teach in high school or middle school. I have a desire to spend some time teaching.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's part of your career, to teach. What about you, Mandy? Why did you decide to leave?
Well, I decided to leave mainly because I want to broaden my horizons. I wanted to see different people, different cultures, be in a different climate. It's going to be so much more cold in Tacoma. I'm going to have to acclimate to that. But, you know, just really broadening my experiences. I think that makes you, I don't know, more of a well-rounded person, and being open, open to other people's values and things like that, and just hearing what the world has to say to you, you know, really just taking that in and using that to grow yourself. So I think that's definitely why I wanted to leave. But not to say that college here is any less good. You know, it really just depends on the person, what they're being led to do and stuff like that.
Now, I know that you were born here in the U.S., in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And Tianjin, you were born in China.
Correct.
So do you still remember what it was like, or you were just a little baby?
Yeah, I came here when I was 1.5.
So did you travel much then, since, growing up here?
Do you want to go first?
I wouldn't say I traveled a lot, but I did do the typical Disneyland. And thanks to band, I actually got to go on some pretty life-changing trips. Like in my freshman year, I got to go to Italy. And actually this year, I got to go to France and Switzerland, and I got to experience their culture. And just try the different foods, you know, see the different places. I wouldn't say I traveled a lot, but when I did travel, it was really life-changing. It was really a great experience.
Okay. What about for you, Tianjin?
I'd say I travel a lot for somebody that lives in Hawaii. I've been to China, obviously, twice. Japan, I went this spring break. Canada, and multiple states on the west and east coast. And this summer I will be going to a couple of states in the south as well.
That's because of some of the competitions that you're involved in.
The competition is in Alabama, and then Mom and I will be taking a mini road trip.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting to hear your perspective, and I guess I want to kind of ask a few more questions about whether you're leaving or staying, because I've interviewed quite a few people, and education is a topic of interest for me. I guess when you talk to administrators, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we bring young people back? But it's obviously for young people like you, it's important to go out and see the world.
Right.
But the hard part is, how do we bring you back? So now you said with qualifications you will come back. So what would make it attractive enough for you to come back and live here and contribute to the state?
Wow, that is a hard question.
I know it is.
Well, the qualifications I was talking about was coming back to teach.
Okay. That's a contribution.
I think to have a lot of professionals, a lot in perhaps my field of study, and that's actually something I'm really excited about with the announcement of the new environmental law court here in Hawaii. I feel like environmental law is going to be something that's much more important and much more emphasized here. So, I mean, as long as there's people that are doing the same things I want to do, that's going to make me want to be here.
What about for you, Mandy?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I think that being on an island, especially Hawaii, our water source is very important. Because if something were to happen to our water source or our food source or our agriculture or things that we rely on, if something were to happen to that, it would actually be very catastrophic for Hawaii. In that sense, there is a demand for professionals, for scientists, for environmentalists to make an impact even here. Because I am going away for college, it will give me kind of a sight of what's going on beyond, but when I come back home, it'll make me that much more, or it'll make me value Hawaii so much more because I see the beautiful place I grew up in, and what may happen to it if something catastrophic like that happened. So in terms of bringing people back, there is always a demand for new and up and coming innovators and leaders in these fields like medicine and things like that. But in terms of my plans, I do plan to come back after my 4 years of college, and then just see where I'm led in terms of that. I really do want to join the Peace Corps. I want to travel and serve around the world, but Hawaii will always be my home, so we'll just see what happens. And I think I will be definitely coming back, though. Yeah.
Well, you have families here, so I'm sure you will be coming back to visit, but it would be great to have you come back. Now, we talked about Kaiser, but now that you've graduated, tell me things that you would do or change if you had the opportunity. Now, you've been there for 4 years. What is one thing from each of you that you would change?
I changed my attitude. I think a lot of the extracurriculars that I pursued, or even the curricular activities that I chose to do, were based on what I perceived as my strengths, and things that I didn't believe were my strengths, for example, like theater or athletics. I had fear of going into those things. I didn't know if I was going to succeed in them. If I was to redo high school, I would just go for it. You know, I just stopped like telling myself that I'm not going to be good enough before I even tried it.
Okay, maybe let me ask it from a different perspective. Mandy, if you were the school principal, I mean, he's a great guy.
He's wonderful.
Yes.
He's wonderful.
From an administrator's perspective, how would you do things differently for the benefit of the students? I mean,
Well,
Tianzhen, if you want to chime in too, that would be
in my
fine.
opinion, and I know a lot of people would probably disagree with this, I would try to lessen bureaucracy at our school. I would try to lessen test taking and assignments and essays. And if I could be the principal, and obviously, I respect other people's ways of doing school and leading school, but I would probably try to enact more courses in terms of issues and topics that directly apply to the person. Like, because I am so passionate about environmental law, I would say, teach every student, make it a requirement, make it a benchmark and a standard that these students learn about the real issues that are going on right now. And not just the issues, but solutions. What can we do? What can we do in our daily lives to change that? How can we become leaders to change government, change policy, so that, we as people are not being run by a corrupted group of officials, but rather by people who truly care about us and our well-being. In terms of school, I would definitely try to emphasize the what can we do, not just what can we learn.
Now, we're coming to the end of the program. I guess to continue with your train of thought, a concern that you have. I mean, there are, I'm sure, a lot. I mean, you mentioned environment, the resources. What would be a concern or worry that you have, and that's kind of motivating you to do things, to take on activities, because it sounds like you believe that you can contribute? So,
I think this is very personal, but just our personal attitude toward other human beings. This is something that we talked about in class a lot as well. But a lot of times when we are faced with people with opposing opinions, we have a tendency to dehumanize them, to think that they're less intelligent than us or something like that. And this type of attitude needs to shift. Even both of us are Christians, but we have experienced within the church community itself, some people will not take certain types of advice because of how they were brought up to believe certain things. And so I guess I would say what worries me most is our complacency.
okay.
Our complacency with how things are, not really wanting to put in the effort to make it better.
Let's leave it on that note and turn it into a positive one, because you two certainly are not complacent, just based on the things that you have done at the high school. I wish you all the best. It's been
Thank you so much.
fantastic talking to the two of you, Mandy and Tianzhen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
let us know how things are, and good luck with your competition in Alabama.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My name is Alice Li Hagan. My guests today are two recent graduates from Kaiser High School, Mandy Chun and Tianzhen Nie. You've been watching ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Stay tuned for the next program, and we'll see you next week. Aloha.